Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to TinyBlueGames. My name, of course, is Seasour Chris, and today we're playing Maplestory in 2019. Now, this is episode 4 of our journey. If you haven't seen the first 3 episodes, they will probably be in the links below or on the playlist to the side. Realistically, you probably don't really need to watch it. It's pretty simple what we're doing. I'm just leveling through Maplestory in 2019 and kind of comparing it to the Maplestory I remember back when I played pre-Big Bang. So there is a lot of discussion about what's changed, what I miss. I'm just kind of a nostalgic player looking for some fun. So yeah, that's the journey. Last episode we hit level 40. We became an assassin and we played with our new skills. And we kind of just grinded it out. We tried to do a bit of this themed dungeon area, but really just ended up grinding out the level. This episode, however, I intend to fully complete a themed dungeon, and that's going to be the Gold Beach area. It's a pretty cool place. There's been a lot of beaches kind of in... Well, not a lot of beaches. The only beach I really remember in Maplestory used to be Florina Beach. And this, I'm not sure if Florina Beach is still in the game, but I feel like this would have been a really good way for them to have made it relevant content. Because back in the day, you would only really go there to complete your monster collections, and there's a boss there as well, but it wasn't a very popular area to go because you would access it from Litharbor, but it was relatively like level 35 to 40 monsters, so it didn't make a lot of sense in terms of where it was, and that it wasn't a huge place either. So I find it interesting that they built this entire new area and didn't sort of just add a lot of content to Florina Beach. Maybe that is what happened and they just renamed it as well, but I'm not sure. So if someone knows if Florina Beach is still in the game, and I might have said Florina like super wrong a bunch of times. I've said this in past videos that I played this game when I was a kid, and I was, I wasn't great at sounding everything out as a kid. And if I sounded out a word and just used it as a kid all this time, I'm probably just drawing that from memory and saying it now. So I apologize if I mispronounce classes or skills or cities and stuff like that. So that's probably where that's coming from. But you can still make fun of me in the comments below, of course. Anyways, today our big conversation is on themed dungeons and their place in the game, because they weren't a thing back in the day. You'd kind of have quest chains, you'd have party quests, and at the very end, you would have sort of instanced training maps where you would sort of go into a instanced version of a training map, and it would, only one person was allowed in it, and it was kind of a way to protect people from kill stealing. And they would have one sort of at like a pig area. I think there was one for some mushrooms somewhere. But there was a few of them around, kind of more in popular training areas. And that's as close to this as I can remember. But this is a kind of completely different thing where you have the actual quest chain that's carrying you through this. And it's pretty good experience mixed with some, I guess, storytelling and some grinding as well, because it generally says, kill 80 of these, kill blah, 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 collect this, collect that. It just gives you sort of directions on where to grind. And what I found to be the biggest difficulty really was that I out-leveled the content before I was able to finish it. Now, I think I was able to come here before level 40, and that might be some of the issue. But I was, level 45, and I wasn't even like halfway through here, and the quests were gray, and I mean, they would still give great experience, but it definitely felt like the game was pushing me onto the next place, even though I hadn't finished. And although the story is not super interesting, I wanted to finish it to get the rewards. I think I got like 1 million mesos or something like that, which as a completely brand new player was, it at least doubled my money. So it wasn't a bad thing. And I mean, I should also get in the habit of picking things up more often. I think I still need to feed. Is feeding your pet still a thing? Because my snail has started disappearing, and I think I need to go buy food, because that used to be the main reason my pet would disappear back in the day. But I haven't seen like him making sad faces, which is also usually, a precursor to them disappearing. So is feeding your pet still a thing? Should I be getting food for the snail? The snail being the free pet they give you, which I think is super cool that they do give you a free pet, because one of the main things you would buy back in pre-Big Bang was a pet, because it is such a tremendous quality of life change to have something pick up stuff for you. So that is really nice that they do give you that for free. I don't know if it lasts forever or if I'm gonna like lose this little guy eventually, but it's definitely a nice way to start. I mean, specifically of so many games like I think of Black Desert Online, where getting a pet to loot for you, or multiple pets to loot for you, is almost required, and it costs money, and there's no way to get it otherwise. It's a very easy way for them to really force people to pay, and I could definitely see it being a business model thing where they give it to you for a while and then they force you to either buy a pet or revive the pet or something like that with a little bit of real money. So I'm not sure how that works. Maybe someone who's played this a lot more could answer that in the question below, the comments below, sorry. But yeah, I'm interested in that too. But yeah, themed dungeons. That's what this is supposed to be about. I keep getting, distracted by all these side conversations. Themed dungeons, I think, are really cool. I just think that it does sort of prevent you from finishing the entire area, because you level so quickly. And I think that sort of makes it feel like you're going through everything without completing it, and doesn't give you a sense of accomplishment in terms of getting all those achievements and badges and all that, which, as kind of a completionist, I mean, I like to definitely finish off an entire zone when I'm questing in WoW. It does make me feel a little bit gross just not finishing somewhere before I go to the next place. So that's kind of one issue I have with it. The other issue is that certainly as you progress, there's multiple different areas to level at each sort of level segment. So like, there was a couple places between 20 and 30, a couple places between 30 and 40, and then the more you go on, it seems like there starts to be like 3 or 4 places between each one. And I feel like I'm, as a new player, concerned to miss out on one of the more enjoyable places, or one of the places that might reward me with the best gear. And it's concerning because you don't know which one. Like, some of them do a good job of displaying what gear you'll get. Specifically, the themed dungeons do a good job of that. But in terms of training at specific mobs and stuff like that, I'm like, should I be doing this or should I be doing that? So it's a little bit interesting. I do get that the choice is also great, because one of the big parts of Maplestory nowadays is that it's more about leveling your alts through the content again. Whereas I'd say back in the day, Maplestory was more about your main character and sticking with that person and enjoying the journey. Whereas now, obviously, like with the Legion system, see, I am learning, you want to level more people to sort of get those stats for your account, which is a really cool thing, and it makes a lot of sense of how they've been building the game around new job releases and just sort of really expanding almost horizontally. I mean, they have done vertical. There has been new gear, there has been higher level caps, but I'd say specifically since the Big Bang until now, it's been more of a horizontal progression for Maplestory, where they just add different avenues for you to get to level 200. And it's been more recent that they've been increasing the level caps, increasing the amount of like adding 5th job and stuff like that. So it seems like they've done kind of 2 different approaches and sort of switched hard from one to the other. I mean, obviously they still release a significant amount of jobs, but there was a few years where you'd get like a ton of jobs that were added to the game. That's kind of what actually drove me away. There was a lot of changes with the Big Bang that I didn't super agree with, but particularly the idea that there was so many different classes wasn't a great thing for me. But yeah, I've been enjoying themed dungeons. You can see that I've like, it's really just grinding with directions. I certainly don't enjoy it more than party quests. Party quests were probably the best part of Maplestory for me. And from what I've read is you can go to sort of a hub where they have all the party quests at level 50. So I do intend to try and explore a bit of that content. And I'm sure people in the comments will have a lot more knowledge about that than I do. But I have a very scared feeling that that content's kind of dead just with how quick the pace of the game is. And I'm also not sure if all the party quests are still there or still operating. I know from Reddit and stuff like that, like the Carnival PQ, which used to be where you would go against another team and compete to see who could kill the most monsters, or in a lot of instances trade wins, was one of my favorite party quests. And it was from 30 to 50 that you do it, and then you'd have another version of it from 50 to 70 that came out later. It was one of the coolest party quests, and probably till this day is one of my favorite moments on Maplestory, when my assassin, who was quite good at the time, would hit level 30 or like 35 or something, and everyone wanted me on their team because I would like just be pretty powerful compared to a lot of the other classes at 35, and it was just such a fun thing to do. So I am interested to see if you are able to still do some party quests like that. I think that's kind of what the next episode is going to be focused on, and discussing my favorite party quests. But those certainly supersede what I've seen from this theme dungeon and the Elenil Fairy Academy. Now, I guess a bigger question I should pose to the people who have played a lot of Maplestory since the Big Bang and since theme dungeons are in, is there any particular theme dungeon that I need to make sure I do complete on my way to a high level? Is there any like really fun dungeons, or ones that give very good rewards, I guess would be the main thing I'm after. So yeah, if you do have one that you recommend doing, I know Gold Beach is actually one that's pretty popular for leveling in this bracket because it is so quick. Because I also think that it's pretty good monsters to train against, with how the maps are laid out and how much experience they give. So I definitely did enjoy this one to a degree. I just, the rewards were nice at the end, but like the actual story and gameplay of it wasn't much different than just grinding. And if I'm going to grind, I almost prefer just sort of going to monsters that I love grinding against and doing it. But yeah, that's kind of the cool thing. You'll see here, this is kind of the ending of the entire thing. You fight a boss, which he looks pretty cool. It really reminds me a lot of the monsters from the Singapore area that they removed from the game, with kind of the blacky, tarish look. There was a lot of monsters around there that had that similar look. And it's very interesting being here now and seeing those monsters now that the that section or region had been removed from global. So it's just interesting to see. Overall, the leveling speed from, I would even say from 30 to 50 was about the same, if not like just a little bit more difficult, but very similar to my way up to 30. So I'm kind of waiting to see when that larger jump in experience and like the levels really start to slow off. I haven't felt it yet, but I do know it's coming, because that's a big part of what Maplestory is, right? It's gonna slow you down for sure. Overall, though, I've been having a lot of fun with the game. My assassin has kind of completed everything he needs in terms of skills, and which is pretty good. But there's not much else to really level. Back in the day, you wouldn't have enough skill points to even complete your entire skill tree before you'd get your next job advancement, and it felt like there was more pressure on really focusing a specific skill set. Whereas now I go in and I know I'm going to have enough points, so I'm like, let's just fully max this out because I'm having fun with it, and go to the next one. So it is kind of just a different way of looking at things. But yeah, it's been a great time. We're going to call this one off here, guys. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.